3,000 years ago, Chinese physicians were already documenting treatments that modern science is only now beginning to confirm. Over 8,000 healing plants, recorded across 3,000 years, form the largest unbroken record of medicine the world has ever known. In our last journey into Chinese medicine, we covered 15 of its most famous herbs: ginseng, ginkgo, reishi, even the herb that helped win a Nobel Prize. But here is what most people never hear about. Those 15 were barely the beginning. For every famous Chinese herb you have heard of, there are dozens more that modern laboratories are only now starting to understand. Herbs. Emperors guarded. Herbs hidden in 2,000-year-old formulas. Herbs that modern science is quietly confirming, one study at a time. Today we are going back in with 15 more Chinese herbs that modern research suggests actually work. And stay until the end, because the final herb on this list was once considered so powerful it was reserved for the imperial palace alone. This video is educational content, not medical advice. Always talk to a qualified healthcare professional before using any herb, especially if you take medications or have a medical condition. If you are new here, welcome to the Green Domain, where ancient wisdom meets modern science. Let us begin. Number 1. Turmeric, the golden root of the East. While turmeric is famous in Indian medicine, it has also been used in Chinese medicine for over 1,000 years, where it is known as Jiang Huang. Chinese physicians valued it to move the blood, ease pain, and calm what they saw as stagnation in the body. Modern science has turned turmeric into one of the most studied plants on Earth. Its main compound, curcumin, has been shown in human research to act on one of the body's master inflammation switches. Reviews of clinical trials suggest that curcumin can ease the joint pain of osteoarthritis, in some studies showing effects comparable to certain common anti-inflammatory medications. One ancient detail matters here. Chinese and Indian cooks almost always paired turmeric with black pepper, and modern science has found out why. A compound in pepper dramatically increases how much curcumin the body can absorb. The ancients got the recipe right long before anyone knew the reason. Number 2. Chrysanthemum, the flower for the eyes. Chrysanthemum flowers, zhuhua, have been brewed into tea in China for over 1,000 years. Traditional physicians prescribe them to cool the body, calm the mind, and above all, to brighten and protect the eyes. It was the classic remedy for tired, strained, or reddened eyes, often combined with goji berries for exactly that purpose. Modern analysis shows chrysanthemum flowers are rich in antioxidant compounds, including luteolin and other flavonoids with anti-inflammatory activity. Early research supports its traditional use for soothing inflammation, and as a gentle, calming, caffeine-free tea. One of the most pleasant and gentle remedies in the entire Chinese pharmacy. Number 3. Honeysuckle, the natural antibiotic. Honeysuckle flower, Jinyin Hua, whose name means gold and silver flower, has been a frontline herb in Chinese medicine for centuries. It was the go-to remedy for fevers, sore throats, and what Chinese physicians called heat toxins, patterns we might now associate with infections and inflammation. Modern research has found that honeysuckle contains compounds like chlorogenic acid with antibacterial, antiviral, and anti-inflammatory activity in laboratory studies. It remains one of the key herbs in Chinese formulas aimed at colds, flu, and fever, still widely used across China today at the first sign of illness. The next herb takes that idea of defense even further. Number 4. Chinese skullcap, the root of calm and defense. Chinese skullcap, huangqin, has been used for over 2,000 years and is one of the most researched anti-inflammatory herbs in the entire tradition. Ancient physicians used it to clear heat and calm inflammation throughout the body. Its main compound, baecholine, has become a serious subject of modern scientific study. Laboratory research has shown that baecholine has anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and antimicrobial effects. And researchers are exploring it for a wide range of conditions. This is a recurring theme in Chinese medicine. A herb is used for inflammation for 20 centuries, and then modern chemistry identifies the compounds responsible. If you are finding this fascinating and you want ancient medicine explained through real science instead of hype, take a second to subscribe. It genuinely helps the channel, and there is much more of this coming. Now, back to the herbs. Number 5. Chinese yam, the gentle strengthener. Chinese yam, shan yao, literally mountain medicine, has been used for over 2,000 years as a gentle, nourishing tonic. Unlike harsh or stimulating herbs, it was prized for slowly building strength, supporting digestion, and tonifying what Chinese medicine called the spleen, lungs, and kidneys. It was food and medicine at once, often added to soups and porridges for the elderly, the weak, and those recovering from illness. Modern analysis shows Chinese yam contains compounds such as diosgenin, mucilage, and antioxidants, with early research into blood sugar support, digestion, and immune function. A quiet, gentle food that the Chinese tradition valued for the long game of health, not the quick fix. Number 6. Poria, the emperor's calming fungus. Poria fuling is a fungus that grows on the roots of pine trees, used in Chinese medicine for over 2,000 years. It appears in an enormous number of classical formulas, valued for draining what physicians called dampness from the body, calming the mind, and supporting digestion and sleep. It was considered so harmonizing that, like licorice, it was added to countless prescriptions to support and balance the other herbs. Modern research has found that poria contains polysaccharides and triterpenes with diuretic, anti-inflammatory, and calming effects in laboratory studies. And there is growing interest in its compounds for sleep and immune support. A humble pine fungus woven through thousands of years of Chinese prescriptions. Number 7. Baizhu, the digestive tonic. Baizhu white atractylodes is one of the most important digestive tonics in all of Chinese medicine, used for over 2,000 years. Chinese physicians prescribed it to strengthen digestion, resolve dampness, and build the body's foundational energy. It is a cornerstone of many classical tonic formulas, especially for fatigue, poor appetite, and weak digestion. Modern research has found that Baizhu contains compounds with anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and digestive regulating effects, and studies have explored its role in gut health and immune function. This is a clear example of the Chinese focus on digestion as the root of overall vitality. It is a principle modern gut science is increasingly taking seriously. Number 8. Mint, the cooling herb. Chinese mint, bo he, has been used for centuries to cool the body, clear the head, soothe sore throats, and ease tension and irritability. It was the classic herb for what Chinese physicians described as wind heat, the early stage of a cold or flu with sore throat and headache. Modern science confirms what almost every culture that used mint discovered. Its compound menthol has genuine soothing, cooling, and antimicrobial properties, and peppermint has clinical evidence for easing digestive discomfort and tension headaches. A cooling herb so effective that nearly every great medical tradition on earth arrived at it independently. Number 9. Lotus seed, the food of serenity. The lotus is one of the most sacred plants in Chinese culture, and nearly every part of it has been used as food or medicine. Lotus seeds, lianzi, were specifically valued to calm the mind, support restful sleep, strengthen digestion, and tonify the body. They were a classic remedy for restlessness, anxiety, and poor sleep, often eaten in soups and desserts. Modern analysis shows lotus seeds are nutritious and rich in antioxidants, and early research has explored their compounds for calming and anti-inflammatory effects. A beautiful example of the Chinese principle that gentle, nourishing foods can also be quiet medicine. Number 10. Chinese hawthorn, the heart of digestion. Chinese hawthorn, shan za, has a special place in Chinese medicine because it works on two fronts at once. For centuries, it was the go-to herb for breaking down heavy, greasy, meaty meals, prescribed specifically after rich food to aid digestion. But it was also valued for the heart and the blood vessels. And here is where modern science gets interesting. Hawthorn, used in both Chinese and European medicine, has clinical research behind it for cardiovascular health, with studies suggesting it may support heart function and healthy blood pressure. An herb the ancients reached for after a heavy feast turns out to support the very organ that heavy feasts endanger. Number 11. Mulberry, the whole tree medicine. The mulberry tree was so valued in ancient China that nearly every part of it became a distinct medicine. The leaves sang yi were used for coughs, fevers, and the eyes. The fruit sang shen was used to nourish the blood and the hair. Even the root bark and twigs had their own prescribed uses. Modern research has found mulberry leaf especially interesting. It contains compounds that can slow the breakdown of sugars in the digestive tract, and studies have explored mulberry leaf for supporting healthy blood sugar levels. One tree, many medicines, and the parts used for thousands of years are now drawing real attention from metabolic researchers. Number 12. Chinese peony, the blood nourisher. White peony root, bai shao, has been used for over 2,000 years and is one of the most important herbs in Chinese medicine for women's health and for easing pain. Physicians prescribed it to nourish the blood, calm spasms and cramps, and soften what they called a tense or constrained liver. It frequently appears alongside dong quai in classic women's formulas. Modern research has found that peony root contains a compound called PAAE-onifluorein, with anti-inflammatory, antispasmodic, and immune-modulating effects in studies. There is particular research interest in peony-based formulas for menstrual and hormonal conditions, giving real grounding to one of the tradition's most treasured women's herbs. Number 13. Eucommia, the bone and tendon bark. Eucommia bark, duzhong, comes from a tree found only in China and has been used for over 2,000 years as a premier tonic for the kidneys, the bones, and the tendons. It was the classic herb for strengthening the lower back and knees, and for supporting healthy aging of the skeleton and joints. It was also traditionally used to support healthy blood pressure, including during pregnancy, under expert supervision. Modern research has found that eucommia contains compounds with antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects, and studies have explored its role in bone health and blood pressure support. An ancient remedy for aching backs and weak knees, now being studied for the very tissues it was prescribed to strengthen. Number 14. Gentian, the bitter fire clearer. Chinese gentian, long dan cao, whose name means dragon gall herb, is one of the most intensely bitter herbs in the entire Chinese pharmacy, and that bitterness is exactly the point. For over 2,000 years, it was used to clear what physicians called damp heat and liver fire, strong patterns involving inflammation and irritation. In Chinese medical thinking, intense bitterness was a signpost for powerful heat-clearing action. Modern research has found that gentian contains bitter compounds, including gentialpicroside, with anti-inflammatory and liver protective effects in studies. And bitter compounds in general are known to stimulate digestion, a herb whose very taste told ancient physicians how to use it, and modern chemistry is beginning to explain why they were right. Number 15. Lingzhi and the imperial secret. We end with a herb so revered that for the first 1,000 years of its recorded use, it was reserved for emperors alone. But this time, not the reishi mushroom we covered before. This time, its even rarer relative, the purple lingzhi, and the broader family of revered Chinese tonic mushrooms that the imperial court guarded as treasures of longevity. In ancient China, these mushrooms were symbols of immortality and divine favor, carved into thrones, painted onto temple walls, and embroidered onto the robes of emperors. Ordinary people were forbidden from possessing them. Modern science has found that these revered tonic fungi are rich in compounds called beta-glucans and triterpenes, with antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and immune-supporting effects, and they are now among the most studied medicinal mushrooms in the world. The treasures the emperors hoarded for themselves are now available to everyone, and modern laboratories are confirming why they were guarded so fiercely in the first place. That completes our second journey, 15 more Chinese herbs that modern science is beginning to confirm. Remember, across 3,000 years, Chinese physicians documented over 8,000 medicinal plants. We have now covered 30 of them. Modern research has barely begun to test what those ancient texts contain. But again and again, when scientists take one of these herbs into the laboratory, they find that the old physicians were not guessing. They were observing patterns we are only now learning how to measure. If this changed the way you think about Chinese medicine, subscribe to the Green Domain, because we are working our way through the greatest healing traditions in human history, one civilization at a time. Drop a comment and tell me which of these 15 surprised you the most. Ancient wisdom, modern proof, real results. I will see you in the next one.